There is a type of person who grew up in a full house and still felt completely alone. Not because nobody was there, but because the people who were there didn't know how to love them, or worse, chose not to. And that child learned something that no one ever untaught them. And here's what that lesson is doing to your life right now without you even realizing it. You probably don't talk about it. Not because it doesn't affect you, but because you've spent so long pretending it doesn't. It almost became true. You learned early that your feelings were too much or not enough. You learned to read the room before you could name your own emotions. You learned that love came with conditions, with moods, with silence that felt louder than anything ever said out loud. So you adapted. You became self-sufficient. You never asked for help because asking and not receiving hurts more than never asking at all. And somewhere along the way, you realized that animals gave you something people never could. No conditions, no disappointment, no moods. They just loved you simply, fully without asking anything back. And maybe that was the first time you understood what love was actually supposed to feel like. But here's what that childhood did to your brain, and this is the part that will change how you see yourself forever. Now, before I get into the science, I need you to hear something first. What happened to you was not a personality flaw. It was not weakness, and it was absolutely not your fault. But it did leave something behind inside you, something most people spend their entire lives carrying without ever understanding what it actually is. Stay with me, because what comes next is probably the first time anyone has ever given this a name. Psychologists call it attachment wounding. When a child grows up without consistent love, their nervous system doesn't develop the way it was designed to. It adapts around absence instead. A Harvard study found that children who experience emotional neglect showed measurable differences in brain development, specifically in the regions responsible for trust and forming close relationships. In plain terms, your brain learned that closeness was unpredictable, that the people nearest to you were also the ones most likely to hurt you. And that lesson doesn't stay in childhood. It follows you into every friendship, every relationship, every room where someone tries to get close and something inside you quietly pulls back. And here is exactly how it shows up in your daily life even today. You overanalyze text. You read tone changes in a single word. You prepare for abandonment before it even happens, because in your experience, it always does eventually. You find it easier to be alone than to risk being disappointed again. Not because you prefer loneliness, but because alone feels safer than hopeful and wrong. You might be 40 or 50 or 71 years old watching this video, realizing you have spent most of your life keeping people at a distance and never fully understood why. Until right now. And here is the part nobody ever says honestly, it never fully leaves. It changes, it softens, but the imprint of not being loved the way you deserved it, it stays. What changes is what you do with it. You are not broken. You are not unlovable. You are someone who learned to survive in conditions no child should ever face. And the fact that you are still here, still trying to understand yourself, that is not weakness. That is one of the quietly strongest things a person can do. But here is the honest truth wrapped inside that. What happened to you became your protection. And protection, when the danger has passed, can start to feel like a prison. The most resilient people understand one thing. Your story did not end in that house. You are still writing it. And every single day you choose to understand yourself. Instead of punish yourself, you are giving yourself something your childhood never did. You are becoming your own safe place. That is not a small thing. That is everything. If this felt like it was written about your life, drop one comment. Just finish the sentence. I knew something was different about me when I read every single one. And if someone in your life is carrying this quietly, send it to them. No explanation needed. They'll know why you did.